What's going on, everyone? Jon Venus here. So today I'm going to share with you one of my full upper body routines. I'm really sweating right now, but that's because I did 15 sprints interval training, so I'm really out of breath right now, so bear with me. So this workout is a little bit advanced, but if you're a beginner it can still be suited to you. You just can't push as heavy. This is a heavy workout, which means maximum 8 repetitions. So what I did to start off this workout was bench press. I always do the warm-up at the very first exercise of the workout, so I don't warm up for every single muscle group. I just do it at the very start. I really tried pushing as much weight as possible for about between 6 to 8 repetitions. Bench press is one of those exercises that you can't really feel. Bench press is always one of those lifts that you can always improve on. It's a very heavy compound movement that is always beneficial to train in order to increase in strength. So don't worry when you're doing heavy. It's okay that your form isn't perfect. Just make sure that your ass doesn't lift off of the bench. What I'm doing instead is I'm tensing my glutes, which makes it look like that I'm actually lifting my body. The only time you should do it is if you're very unsure if you're able to lift for the last rep and you don't have someone to spot you. So next up is the dumbbell incline bench press. So this is one of my favorite exercises, and unlike the bench press, this kind of isolates the pecs a little bit more. Since there is no bar in the middle, you can get a better stretch. You can bring the dumbbells a lot further down than you can with a bench. Don't risk injuring yourself. If you're new to this, just play it safe and just bring it to your chest level and bring it up again. Important thing to keep in mind here is not to do very abrupt movements. You don't want to be smacking the dumbbells together when you reach the top of the movement. Try always to keep it as steady as possible. So my third and final exercise for the chest is cable flies. I really enjoy this one because it really allows you to kind of like focus on the negative as well as the positive movement. The cable always has resistance to it. As you can see, I'm using my body weight to keep myself kind of in position, and that's completely fine as long as you find the balance and stay there. A lot of people also get injured doing cable flies because they lift their elbows up like this and just do them like this. Just always remember, for almost every exercise that you do, keep your scapula retracted like this and your elbows a little bit down. You don't want to keep them at a 90-degree angle. You want to keep them diagonally down. That way you won't be using your shoulders, you'll be using your pecs correctly. A lot of people feel their biceps when they're doing this. It's because their elbows are not fixed, so keep your elbows locked in a position and do not move it. So I do the biggest muscle groups first and then I go to the smaller ones. You don't need to do the same exact thing every time. I always change my workouts out. It's very important to do so. So the back movement that I started with is the machine rows, and you can do this one arm at a time if you prefer, but since it was a heavy day and I just wanted to get an effective workout in, I did both arms at the same time. So here it's also important to kind of focus on just pulling with your elbows rather than with your biceps. Just pretend there is something that you're pulling from this area right here of your arm, from your elbows, and pretend that you're not using your hands at all. So that way you should not be feeling your forearms or biceps. And this exercise is very good to build the thickness of your back. This exercise took me a long time to kind of connect with, but once you get it right, it's awesome. I always recommend experimenting with your form until you perfect it, because if you do exercises wrong, guys, you will not get the results. You'll be wasting your time in the gym. So make sure to learn everything before you go crazy. So I did one more exercise for the lats, or for my back, and that's the lat pullover. Now this is also one of the tricky ones. A lot of people feel this one on their triceps. Same kind of thing. You have to keep your elbows locked so that you don't feel your arms at all. What helps me the most is stretching as much as you can, taking a little break at the top, and the same when you reach, you kind of bring your bar to your hips and then pause there for a little bit and just kind of like squeeze your back and exaggerate that movement so you really get that mind muscle connection going. You really feel it at the top of your lats right here. It's very good. One of the best isolation movements for the lats by far. Alright, so finally back and chest are done, so they are out of the way. Next up is the shoulders, and what I started with is the lateral raises. Now this is also an exercise that a lot of new beginners get wrong because they kind of tend to put their arms or hands further up than their elbows, and it's got to be the opposite. The elbows have to come first and then the arms or the hands follow. If you can tell that when I lift my hands above my elbows, I don't really get that full contraction on my side delts, but when I put my hands down and lift my elbows, I can feel the shoulder contracting a lot more. This is also one of those exercises that are kind of high risk if you're doing heavy weights and you're not used to it. So if you're a new beginner, do not do lateral raises with heavy weights. Keep it very low and focus on high repetitions, more or less 15 to 20 reps to start with. Next, shoulder exercises, the dumbbell military press. very simple exercise. You really risk injuring yourself if your hands are below shoulder level. So what I like to think about is, you know, the head of the dumbbell can touch the top of your shoulder, and that's a good indication that you should, you know, bring it up again. So always remember to contract fully at the top, because as you can see from the back, when I lift my hands all the way, kind of my traps are contracting as well. So it's kind of like beneficial for your traps indirectly. So on to arms, and we start with dumbbell curls. I do this very heavy. Bicep is my strong point, so I'm using 32 kilos on each side here. And basically what you want to try to focus on is not to let your elbows flare out too much. Now you can see that I'm doing it a little bit here, but that's just because I'm trying to go as heavy as I can for 6 repetitions. It's okay to rock your body a little bit. Kind of rule of thumb is that you can rock from the front until you reach a straight position, but you can't rock until you kind of bend your back backwards. So that's a very bad mistake that a lot of people do, and you risk injuring your lower back. We have one exercise left, and it's gonna be the tricep pushdowns. You can do it with a cable rope, you can do it with a straight bar, you can do it with a V-bar. It doesn't really matter what you do. You can do it one arm at a time if you want, but the important thing is, guys, to just make sure that you are not kind of like stepping too far away from the cable. You don't want to be doing this. You want to be positioned pretty close and keep your elbows tucked in, and make sure to stretch all the way to the bottom. Now the opposite problem that a lot of people have is that they bend too much forward and they're kind of going like this, using their shoulders too much. Think about this, it's extremely important, I cannot stress it enough. Retract your scapula. You want to build your muscles up with the right form, because if you do all the exercises hunched over, you'll just end up like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. You don't want to look like that. He did not get laid. So that was my whole full you know, heavy upper body workout while fasted. I did not have food. If you want to try it out, do so, and let me know in the comment section how you found it. So thank you so much for watching, guys, and if you had any video suggestions, leave it in the comment section below. Click the like button, leave a comment, and as always, guys, I'll see you very soon. Peace out.